we're putting our Chevy TBI together, and I want to point out a couple of differences I noticed with some of these valve bodies. So this is out of a 1990 305, and one of the things I want to show you is the stock part that goes onto the air cleaner, like that. You can see how constrictive it is, and how this is why you end up porting it, and the spacing and everything else, because the air is having to go straight in and then make a turn in there. It's very constrictive the way these things are set up like this. This is why we ported that one and everything. You'll see when I show the salad bowl we got from Jegs. But what I want to show too is, so this is a 1990 305 TBI. If you take a look at some of the parts, like the way the throttle's set up, where the different hoses go in here, here, here. Some of them, I'll show you, are drilled here, and then you'll see the van one is drilled over here also, and then this is different on the newer ones. The plug is different, so I'll show you that right now. So this one is out of so that's again a 90. This is out of a 91 van. And again, so this one I think is drilled the same. There. And then you can see this has a different plug right here than that one had. Right there, if you can see it. Yeah, there. So that's a different plug on this, I think it's throttle position sensor. And then you can see how this is way different. The way this bolts up, it's not even drilled on that one. And then all these the cable connects are way different on the van than the pickup. So that's just 1 year's difference, 305, 350. And I don't think I think the throttle body is the same between the two of them. It's just big variances with these. So if you're going to go to the wrecker and get one, make sure you're getting one that's going to work on your car. Because, so here's the one we ported. I think this is out of a 92 or 93. And this is where you're going to see, okay, again, this is out of pickup. So it has the same throttle cable set up. Here, like I was talking about, that one is drilled there. It has this over here, where on this one it's over here. And then this one has the same throttle position sensor as on the van, as opposed to the round plug that was on this one, or the straight plug that was on this one. It's got the different style. So just something to think about. On this also, we're going to be, so this is the one I ported here and cleaned up, and we're going to be doing the spacer that goes on there. We got a spacer from off Amazon. I'll put the link up. It'll be monetized because space. Yeah, throttle body shop out of Austin, Texas. And you can see it comes with the spring for the fuel pressure and the little spacer that goes on top there that moves the injectors up a little bit. So, yeah, we also got a kit for it. To rebuild everything. So I'll do another one as we put it together. Continuing on with our TBI modifications here. And here's the Jegs TBI airflow enhancer that we bought. It's number 50080. They had it on sale when we bought it. I can't say whether it's still on sale. but I'll go through and show the difference between this and the injection when I'm done. But you can see next to the stock one that I showed before, that's just straight up and down. The instructions say to just put it on, but I don't like that idea. I think flow-wise, the air is going to come in, have to go through the small hole, then kind of work its way out and come back in again. So I think what my plan is here is I'm going to give it a cut right around that edge there. So I'm going to cut that out, so then the air will flow into the bowl and then into the injection like it's supposed to. I think this is going to work way better. And then with our exhaust mods that we're doing, along with the porting I did, the spring, and the spacer, I'll show you the difference between the stock and how ours turned out. But that's my plan right now. I'll check back after I cut that section out. All right, you can see what I did. Kind of ballparked the line through there. I'll try and get as straight as I can. Then I drilled a hole, starter hole. We're gonna go for the auto body saw, see if it can handle it. Hopefully it can. I got plenty of extra blades. So I'll check back in after, make the cuts here. I'm gonna try and get it just inside of this line so it's nice and smooth and has a nice smooth drop off there. And this has like a ridge on it too. So this thing is like just crazy for bad flow the way they come stock. So I'm expecting a lot of improvements here. All right, now you can see the side-by-side comparison here of what's stock, and this is the part I just cut out of the air cleaner, and the ported with the new salad bowl design. I'll hold them up so you can kind of get a bit, or bring the camera down for this one so you can kind of see how constrictive it is. But you can see all the air has to flow straight in and then kind of come around the injectors here. Where here the air is able to come in and go in like this, and you have so much more room. You'll get a better idea when I show you. This one's got the spacer, and this one's got the spacer and then the fuel pressure spring, where this one's completely stock, how it came off the truck. And this one's the one I ported that's in my other video that I'll link to. So you can see I cut off the air cleaner. So now that'll go on like that. You can see how it'll flow through the air cleaner into the bowl, nice and open. And let's just take a little closer look at what's going on. So I think you can see here, this one's not ported. You can see this is the original air cleaner part here. And then you have this constrictive part around it that all the air has to flow through that area. And then you're able to see, if I pull, see if I can get this part off. There. How, without the fuel injector spacers and stuff, how there's not a ton of room there for the air to flow around. As opposed to this, you can see where we ported it, and then I've got it spaced up. And what the spacing is it's equal to 2 gaskets right there. And they give you longer screws for the spacers. But this is the porting. A couple things I wanted to mention is on the fuel injectors. When you do the rebuild kit, and I'll put a link to the rebuild kit I used, and I'll put a link to the Jegs salad bowl, and a link to the fuel pressure spring and that spacer we were talking about. And you have my prior video of me porting this out. Also, I bought a can of Chem Dip, and I dipped the entire throttle body in that overnight, and that really cleaned it up nice. I highly recommend it. It was kind of hard to get it in there and kind of hard to get it out, but it fit. So what I was going to mention is, make sure, get a brush everything real well. I ended up putting a little Teflon tape on these two, even though I have the gasket on the end. Probably didn't need it, but I thought it was good insurance. I also, this is like kind of glued in from the factory right there. I put a little tiny bit of like two wraps of Teflon tape, and then it's got the stock gasket and stuff on there. There's one on Amazon that I think Walker makes, but some people are complaining that it breaks off at the threads there. So I'm going to wait and see how this runs and then see if I need to change this out. I swapped this out of the old truck. This is out of the van we got the engine out of. This is out of another car. These injectors are out of the car that I got this off of. It was actually it was a pickup truck, about a 92. So one other thing I want to mention is when you pull out the fuel injectors, there's a screen that goes onto them, and then an O-ring after that. To get the screen off, what I did was I took a razor blade and went in there, and then was able to kind of wiggle the razor blade around and go around it without scratching anything, and then slowly start to work the screen off. And then I think I may have taken a plastic tool after I got some space from the razor blade. So that's a little tip. I'll put a link to the rebuild kit we got in the description. It was very good. I like the instructions. That came with it. I think it had some torque specs in there. It's got, so what I was just talking about here is number 35, the idle air control right there. I put a little tiny bit of Teflon on that, and I put a little bit of Teflon on 16, the fitting inlet line, and 19, the other fitting outlet line. You can see there's a gasket there and there, but I figured it didn't hurt to put a little Teflon on it, just to make sure everything seals up good. And then you can see the screen I'm talking about, number 13. That's where I kind of weaseled a razor blade in there between that and that. And then also when you're putting it together, there's number 11 is an O-ring, and then number 12 is a washer. When they say washer, it's more like a, it's almost like a steel O-ring. So, and the one I pulled apart didn't have that, so I ended up putting that in. That was all in the rebuild kit. Like I said, yeah, there's the torque specs on the back. And I'll put a link in the description. It'll be an Amazon link. So again, I monetize everything from Amazon. But you can get this rebuild kit from just about anywhere. But I like the one I got. I'm pretty happy with it. And I'll put a link to the spring and the spacer. It came with instructions in the description also. And link to the Jegs, the 50080. So hope all this helps in deciding if you want to do it. I think to do everything together is the way to go. I think porting it, and then the spacer, and then porting it, spacer, fuel pressure spring, and then this salad bowl, and then cutting out the air cleaner like that. I think all this together, and then obviously I ported the rods on the bottom of this also, if you watch my other video. I think all of this together, I mean, is it going to make it, you're still dealing with garbage heads, but you'll see kind of a little bit of what I'm doing with the exhaust. I'm going to show my Y pipe and my whole merge before the catalytic converter, so you can kind of see the flow and the scavenging that I hope to get from that. And I think with that and this, I'm really, I asked Richard Holdner on one of his live things. He said he thought I'd get a lot of torque. He couldn't really estimate too well on the horsepower. He said 20. I'm hoping for more than that. I'd love to see like 40 foot-pounds of torque if we can. We'll see what happens. But hopefully this helps you, make some decisions of what you want to do. I really believe this is the way to go as opposed to stock. I think we're going to see a difference. I think it's going to sound better. I'm going to probably try and put a second horn on the air cleaner. I've got a second one of these. I might put one in here to get more fresh air in also. And we're going to put high flow filter in there also. Oh, and not that they sell these anymore, but I had this grinder I'd been using, and it had a catastrophic failure. I don't know if you can see the cracks in there and stuff, but it went out pretty bad. I was using a drum sander on this, and that shouldn't have had any effect. I went through one blade with the auto body saw. I could have probably kept using it, but it got, those teeth there were kind of going away. So that's where we're at. Hope everybody appreciates this. And, if you got any comments, if there's something else I should have done or whatever, let me know. If you got a question, something I can help with, let me know also. Like and subscribe.